now tuned in to United Football Media. Tell me about it, the number one wraparound show from the number one spring football league coverage media conglomerate, the United Football Media, covering the United Football League. We are big time supporters and lovers of spring football. I am here with my Sacramento Surge 1992 World League Championship shirt. Still celebrating that, still hanging on because it still is in my heart. This week, we are back and we are better than ever because Tay is feeling real good about himself. And a team that I wanted to start off with this week was a team that I think is going to be in pretty much everyone's top three of their power rankings next week. This Michigan Panthers team, the big victory over the Houston Roughnecks, biggest offensive explosion in the whole league this year. They appear to have one of the better defense, top two defense. They appear to have possibly the best kicker in football, period, because this guy is drilling everything from everywhere on the field right down the middle. And now it appears that they may have found a solution on offense, a solution at quarterback, because EJ Perry finally stepped into what Tay has believed he has been all along. He is very ready to go to tell us all about it. Another team that may have found their quarterback and is very looking very dangerous. We'll get to in a minute, the Birmingham Stallions. But I think the emergent squad here is the Michigan Panthers. EJ Perry, another tough outing for the Roughnecks. It seemed like every single time that they started to gain some rhythm on offense, stop me if you've heard this before, their offensive line would do something crazy. And that was the theme again today. False start after false start, blown protections, Reed Sinette's getting knocked all over the place. But what we're here to talk about is the positive side. And that is these Michigan Panthers who appear to be a phoenix rising right now. EJ Perry, tell us all about it, Tay.
I just want everyone to just respect EJ Perry, man. I've been trying to tell y'all, this is a great quarterback right here. I told y'all about EJ Perry, and especially you, X. You were hating on EJ Perry. I don't know why.
I wasn't hating. He didn't play well. That's just what it was.
Well, you gotta see it. You gotta see it. You gotta know. And I knew they got the best kicker. They got one of the best quarterbacks. EJ Perry is a dual threat. He can do it with his feet. He can throw the ball. And I mean, the Roughnecks, they didn't even get any pressure. So just with that alone, you're giving EJ Perry all day just to make any throw he wants to. And that's exactly what happened. Like,
I think that's the biggest difference this week. That offensive line was having all sorts of communication problems last week, all sorts of assignment problems last week. Didn't look like they know where they're supposed to be. There was barely any pressure this week at all. This offensive line kept EJ Perry protected and clean against what we thought was one of the better defensive lines and front sevens in the entire UFL. So big props to the Michigan Panthers' improvement in the pass protection game. Again, continue to wax poetic about your guy, EJ Perry.
Yeah. 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 passing touchdown, and this is a great team. And I was hating on them at the beginning of the season. I was wrong. I'm here to say I was wrong. The Michigan Panthers are like that. They're one of the best teams in this league, and they seem like the underdogs to me. I guess that's why I'm rocking with them so heavy. But they just seem like the underdog. Like they were at the bottom pretty much, in some power rankings and like championship odds, but. I really do think this is a good team. Like I like their receiving core. Trey Quinn, Marcus Sims. Marcus Sims had a 66-yard bomb.
He had an amazing play. It wasn't just a broken coverage either. He caught it and broke tackles and took it to the house. Fantastic play.
Yeah, like the game was close at halftime, but that third quarter, it was a wrap after that. Michigan, they just put on an absolute show with 22 third quarter points. I mean, you can't beat that, so. I want to give some big credit to the Panthers this week.
Nearly 300 total yards for your guy, EJ Perry. 84% completion, 200 yards, touchdown through the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 60 yards rushing. Marcus Sims, like you said, really starting to pick things up. Trey Quinn, was an unheralded workman for them in every game so far this year. He's putting in work every week in what was a struggling offense, and now it's starting to pay dividends for him as well. I also love, Cole Hicatini off the tight end spot. Very capable hands, very capable of doing things after the play. What do you think about the squad on the rise, Axe?
Well, like Tay, I'll admit I was wrong about the Michigan Panthers. Initially, I felt like the offense was a little bit clunky. Was impressed with the defense from week one. Ever since week one, we've been talking glowingly about the defense, but just offensively, Perry seems to be comfortable, and Sims is one of the better deep threats in this league, and they're looking good so far. I mean, we'll see if the momentum continues. It seems like the benching has awakened EJ Perry into playing better. So if we can build on this momentum, because he was benched for a second for Danny Etling last week. But to go 6 for 19 after that, it shows great resilience. So shout out to EJ Perry. We'll see if the Panthers continue. Like, I have nothing negative to say about them. They executed great on both ends of the field, and they're looking good. So shout out to Michigan Panthers.
Proving us all wrong. True, what do you think about this team on the rise?
Didn't expect it. I think since week one, we kind of saw that they had something a little different than we came into the season expecting. So EJ Perry is surprising. He's surprising the heck out of me. And I mean, Tay saw the vision. You know, gotta give him his props. It pains me to do that, but like he saw the vision. I think EJ Perry being able to go out there and get you 200 yards passing and get you 60 yards rushing, that is, what can you do with that? And as much as I want to give them a lot of credit to the Panthers and what they did, I guess the bigger question for me is what's going on with the Roughnecks? It's not looking too good for the Roughnecks right now. And I didn't have high hopes, didn't have high hopes for them coming into the season, but I definitely didn't expect them to just kind of look like the worst team in the league. Basically, that's how they look so far this year, and I was not expecting that. But big kudos to the Panthers, man. Like I said, EJ Perry, I can't say nothing but good things this week. It was to me, it was he put on the show, and you guys mentioned Sims and some of the receiving core too, but it's just he got it done. And I'm gonna say this, and I just want to see Tay's face when I say this. It was a very Lamar-esque type of game to go out there and get it done, both throwing and on the ground. Right, Tay? Right?
No.
Just little.
No, it was better.
It was better. I knew you.
Oh, it's better.
I knew you.
For individual coverage of this game, these two teams, check out our guy Ace on Roughnecks podcast here on United Football Media, and we have added a Michigan podcast, the Pod PAWD cast, that is also released weekly here at United Football League. Check those out for individual coverage of both these squads in both these games. Go ahead.
If I'm the Roughnecks, I'm concerned, though. That's the last thing I wanted to say. I'm very concerned if I'm them.
It is
a concern. Yeah,
they just can't seem to get right, man. It's wild. Speaking of wild, a wild finish down there in Arlington. Boy, those Renegades, which, by the way, we've also added a Renegade podcast, so please check that out, United Football Media. And, of course, Ace and Webb, they handle all of our DC Defenders coverage, do an awesome job of it. If the Renegades, if it wasn't for bad luck, they would have no luck, because the way this season has started off, oh, my God. You play back-to-back weeks, two of the best teams, losing in tough battles. DC is just starting to get their stuff together. You lead this game in every statistical category: first downs, total yards, time of possession, all of it. Tiamu looks like garbage. He has 50% completion. He's doing crazy stuff. And somehow, some way, you end up losing a 1-point loss at the last second. Arlington Renegade. And again, our guy Luis Perez, 60% completion, multiple touchdowns, looking good, doing his thing. It just one way or another just doesn't work out for Arlington every week. the XFL champions, despite giving a hard time to some of the best teams in the league, have fallen to 0-3. Insane game on Saturday. This is why no lead is safe. This is why you have to watch every week, because almost every game ends up being close. We had another heart stopper here just now, a couple of hours ago, as of recording, between the Brahmas and the Battlehawks. This game Saturday, crazy. Tell us about it, Tay. DC and Arlington.
Just from the beginning, like Arlington, they were up. Like in the first half, they went down early, but then by the end of the first half, they were up. They had the defenders' offense struggling. I mean, the Renegades were pretty much. They looked like in control. Like if you were watching, you would think that the Renegades would win, but fourth quarter, the game was tight, and then the Renegades pulled away. Up by 10. That's when you protect the lead. But no, the defenders come down. Jordan Tatum, he didn't even really have a good game. He had a good.
Oh, he had 45% completion.
Yeah, he did. He had a good quarter. I mean, that's all that matters in the day. Like they came down the possession before it. They came down, punched it in, gave it to Cameron Harris for the 1-yard touchdown, and then got the ball back, went down, got the 49-yard field goal with the time expired. That's game. I mean, it's just. You got to protect leads. Like the Renegades have definitely had this game in the bag. You have to protect leads. Like they played well. Like you said, they led in every category. They played a good game to me. Like, but you just cannot fold. You can't take your foot off the gas at the end of the game. You have to close games out. So yeah, maybe the Renegades just aren't the team we thought they were. Like you got to close games out. This is the second week in a row.
At some point, wins and losses, we got to start weighing that in. At the end of the season, if they don't end up making the playoffs, if this all keeps going the way it's going, this is going to be the game they look back at. I mean, because gosh, you got Luis Perez, 290, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Davion Smith finally getting going, 4.5 yards a carry, 63 yards, and they managed to blow it. And now they're down at 0-3. Axe.
Yeah, losing a game where you win time of possession 39-20, that's insane. The DC defenders, they had to stop getting off the slow starts too. It's the second week in a row they've gotten off to like very, very slow starts. Tiamu turned it on the second half, but they have to be better early on. That's not going to work against better teams. Like we said, Perez was very accurate. The running game it got going, but you can't give up a 10-point lead with 2 minutes to go. Like, that's just what it boils down to. You got a 10-point lead, you got to close the deal. They just didn't execute well enough, and shout to the defenders for staying resilient throughout the whole game and making the clutch plays down the stretch.
True thoughts. We finally have an official Renegades. I congratulated him. I said we finally have an official Renegades podcast here on the United Football Media. So now we have been called the unofficial Renegades podcast so far. We have to hand that baton off now. What a letdown this week.
Man, the thing about the Renegades to me is that I don't think they still don't have an identity as a team, which is why you can't close out games like that. I think that's what that is, in whether it's in football, basketball, baseball in general. If you don't have an identity as a team, you don't hold on to leads. You can't close games, and they got a really good game from Luis Perez. Like everybody's mentioned, the run game was good, and the defenders did not play a good game. They did not play a good game. For all intents and purposes, the defenders should have absolutely lost that game. But for what it's worth, sports is not about what should be and what could be. It's about what happens. And defenders did what they had to do and came out. I was surprised, honestly, when I looked. I was watching the game. I'm like, all right, well, Arlington got this, and I'm in my mind preparing for the show, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna, I gotta hear Tay talk about his guy Luis Perez and how they, came out with a win, and I'm preparing for that. And then Arlington just nosedives in the final stretch, and I was just like, you know what? Can't say Tiamu played good. Can't say that defenders had an excellent defensive showing. I can't say any of that. they just grinded out and got the win. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to the playoff picture and going for that championship, that's all that matters. It don't have to look pretty. You just got to get it done.
What's up, Axe?
Just want to give a quick shout to Chris Rowland, who had 125 125 return yards. Like, he had a great kick return to put him in field position to take this lead. And also 36 receiving yards as well. So shout out to Chris Rowland. He made some big plays today.
All three phases, baby. You can find individual coverage of this on the Hellraisers podcast for the Arlington Renegades, and I'm sure it'll be an entertaining week with Alex and Webb on the DC Defender show, because I got a feeling they might fry this team up even in a victory, even though they'll take the win. It'll be interesting because those guys show no mercy. Sunday evening capped off Brahmas Battlehawks. Really got cooking in the second half. AJ McCarron showing who he is again. Chase Garbers showing who he is again. Again, a little bit of a slow start for the Brahmas. And this week, they could not quite complete the comeback. Decent drive there at the end. Interesting choice by Garbers to not just go for something underneath for the first down. Threw it deep. Went too high. Missed his receiver. Game over. But a back and forth. Battlehawks really starting to look like who we thought they were. Defensive player of the year on the defensive side, PETA. All of the stars on the offensive side for the Battlehawks really starting to come on. Definitely going to be dangerous if they can manage to get Ja'Cory Pearson back by the end of the season, by the playoffs. Mateo Durant, again, looked great. Hey, you got to give the Battlehawks their due. They came in there. They came into a loud Brahma bullpen down there at the Alamo Dome and got the job done and looked good doing it. Hey, tell us about your Battlehawks.
That's what I expected. AJ McCarron didn't really have a whole bunch of yards, but again, took care of the ball. 70% completion percentage. Even added a rushing touchdown. We don't really see too much of that. Jacob Sailors, he got it going. He had 9 yards per carry with the touchdown.
Yeah, a little bit of a star-making performance because he was making plays and he was one of the big differences in that game.
Mm-hmm. And also, Hakeem Butler. He didn't really have anything the first 2 weeks, but this was the week.
Starting to step up now. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they just did what they needed to do. And I gotta give a shout out to the defense for that fourth quarter, that last drive, just stopping the 4th and 4, I think it was. That's how you win championship. That's how you win games. You gotta have a defense that could just step up and pretty much win the game for you, So I can't forget the Battlehawks defense, but I think the Brahmas, they did start off slow, which kind of hurt them. But I mean, I think they'll be okay. I think they just went up against a better team, and they should come back next week. Like, when we make our predictions, they should be back just fine. I mean, Chase Garbers is a good quarterback, and I do believe that the Brahmas could win a decent amount of games. So I wouldn't really. They just lost to the better team to me. So they could have won the game. They honestly could have won the game. It just, like you said, just the last play, the last play on their last drive. Like they could have won this game, but like I said, they just lost to the better team. So this was probably my favorite game of the week.
Things could change the next time around. Axe, thoughts on our evening cap this week?
It was definitely a quality game. Brahmas just fell slightly short, but nothing to be ashamed of. Vladimir and Kirkland once again had above 50 yards apiece receiving. So one of the better wide receiver duos in this league. It's just AJ McCarron shows why he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Like Garbers, he's been good. Nothing to be ashamed of. They just got off to a slightly slow start. But the versatility that St. Louis has with the running game getting going in the first week, it really wasn't a factor. But ever since then, they've had good balance with the run and pass game. Hakeem Butler finally has stepped up. Aitman didn't really have as good of a game this week, but the receiving core has a lot of depth.
They're so deep.
Yeah, they're
so
deep, and there
deep.
wasn't a ton of passing yards to go around, and that's a sign of things getting going and AJ McCarron kind of getting comfortable. Is because he affected things both through the air and on the ground. You could go out there and have a middling numbers, 150 yards passing, but still be the pivotal piece that's controlling the game for your offense, like AJ McCarron did today. True, what do you think?
I think honestly, what I took from this game is what's going to happen going forward for both teams. I think the Battlehawks, if AJ has kind of found some chemistry with Butler, because like we mentioned, it didn't look great for Butler starting out, but if we found something there with AJ and Butler, that's something to look out for in the coming weeks, because that could be a very dangerous connection. Anytime you get almost 90 yards receiving and you get a touchdown, if that becomes a thing, the Battlehawks might have something to look out for. With the Brahmas, like you said, Brahmas started slow, but I thought they showed a lot of resilience throughout this game, and they had an opportunity to get it done. And I think when we first started the season, we talked about the betting line, with the Brahmas and where they
I was
were.
thinking about it
And
during the whole game. I said, boy,
right,
that plus 1,500 looks good now.
it looks good because you see flashes of greatness in their offense and what they can do, and their
But
defense
we all
as well.
listened to
So
Tay, which ended up being a huge mistake. I'm joking.
No, they're still not gonna win. Don't
no,
even worry
I don't,
about it.
I don't think the Brahmas are going to win, but I think they've showed some promise. And look, no, I don't think we expected them to be where they are right now. Anyway, I don't think anybody did. Hence the betting lines, but I think they've exceeded expectations, and I think going forward they could continue to do so. Like I saw a couple things in the game where I said, something to look out for. But we'll see in these next couple weeks how it goes. But I think good effort by the Brahmas, just came up short. Battlehawks, better team, and they were in it to the end. So that's what you want.
Our guy Jordan
Well,
Williams had another killer game. I didn't know if that was what Axe was about to bring up. Yeah, that's our
I was
guy,
gonna
and
bring
man, he
up
was killing it again. Yep.
yeah, shout out to him, shout out to Willie Harvey and Callahan O'Reilly as well. 12 tackles apiece as a linebacker duo.
Woo.
Very, very impressive. So wanted to get him a shout.
They're ready to go. Brahma Bullpen is your source for individual coverage for the Brahmas. I love that show. And then we got a Battlehawks show coming out next week right here in United Football Media. Be on the lookout for it. Interesting scene on Saturday. Birmingham, Alabama, I've got a little challenge for you because you're supposed to be this big, this crazy football state. I'm told down there in Alabama that it just means more. It's just that much more serious. Well, you guys have a back-to-back defending champion team who looks like an absolute juggernaut. So I need to see some more people in those stands. I'm personally challenging you, Birmingham, because the side of the stadium where people was at, that looked real good, looked real awesome. I'm going to need you guys to show up a little bit more for this dominant team. If you really are what you say that you are down there in supposed football country, you're not going to let St. Louis outdo you, are you? You're not going to let San Antonio outdo you, are you? I was told it means more down there in Alabama. I'm waiting to see because you're going to have something to cheer for. Because if this Adrian Martinez thing keeps going the way it looked Saturday night when they blew the doors off of those showboats, the showboats have been capsized. They are flipped over. The rudder is going. There's oil flying everywhere. People are screaming, bloody murder, jumping overboard because they got destroyed on Saturday by these Birmingham Stallions who appear to have found a quarterback. Adrian Martinez, insane stat line, was just doing it. Well, I don't know what you're laughing about, Tay. This is what revenge this is. A Mart, a Magic. He was killing it on Saturday. And the Stallions looked terrifying. They were just dominating that offensive line. Steve Filippo pulled Case Cook out of the game because he was just getting destroyed. They were at nearly 10 sacks, which is something you only really see in high school and maybe some levels of college in huge mismatches. This Birmingham pass rush, Birmingham skill players, and now they might have a quarterback too. Terrifying. So Birmingham, I'm going to need you to get out there and support your team Hey, go ahead.
I was laughing because last week somebody said Adrian Martinez needs to change his position. Somebody said that last week. They said he
Well,
wasn't the quarterback. They
he
said
looked
he wasn't
terrible,
good
though.
enough. And they're wrong. That's why I was laughing this whole time. Because he shut him up, had probably the best quarterback game of the year so far. Absolutely shut you up. He heard you and he told you don't disrespect him again. You need to respect him. Adrian Martinez is their quarterback. Stop hating on these quarterbacks. This league got some great quarterbacks. You need to respect them. Adrian Martinez, like I said, this was probably the best quarterback game of the year. Like 334 yards, 44 on the ground with a touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns. Like almost had 420 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like that's like you said, they threw
Dominant.
him out. Like,
Dominant.
yeah, Deion Kane, 144 receiving yards. Like they were doing
Deion King was
whatever they wanted
routing
to.
people up.
Yeah, like
Child's play.
they were just doing whatever they want. Like I don't know, the Showboats got to get together because that's not good. I think they lost 2 in a row, right? I think they won week 1. Yeah, they got to get it together too. I mean, this isn't good. This was a really bad game. Like, I mean, Birmingham, they scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. Just to add on to it, like it was a one-sided game, especially in the second half. Like when you saw, you kind of knew it was over. You know, like I said, shout out to Adrian Martinez though for shutting the noise up.
I don't know if the noise is shut next week. It will be though. If this, yeah. Axe, one of your sure thing locks of the year was Deion Kane. You highlighted him before we came on this year in the preseason, and he was doing whatever he wanted the other night. Amazing game. Made people was shaking people so bad they're falling down flat on the ground, leaving them behind. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, Deion Kane, like I said before, I believe he's wide receiver number 1 in the UFL. I will admit I was wrong about Adrian Martinez.
For now.
I had said last week.
He's still wrong. He's going to be wrong for the remainder of the season. But go ahead.
This is what I said to clear up the slanderous treachery of Tajon Archive. To clear that up, I had said I believe in Adrian Martinez as a runner, but I wasn't as impressed with him throwing. But with him getting 334 yards, I can't say anything negative about his performance. Great job being a great dual threat. I'm assuming they're going forward with him because it wasn't a 2-quarterback system this past Saturday, and with how things went very well. And I did say before the game, I did predict last week that Carlos Davis is going to have an impact. He had another 2 sacks. They had multiple players with 2 sacks. The fact that the Showboats offensive line was so poor that the coach told the quarterback, "Hey, I'm gonna take you out, protect you." That's it.
It's not good for next week's matchup either, by the way.
Yeah, so they gotta get their offensive line situation together. Birmingham looks like the class of the league so far. We'll see what happens, but another impressive week from Birmingham. They got a machine going. I agree with you, Eric. Like they have to. That's their only professional team. Like they have to go out and support. It has to be better than what we saw on Saturday, just honestly, because they have a great team.
Yeah, for somebody whose last name is Archive, and some of the memory is a little bit shaky over there, Tay, but we'll let it slide for here. True, what did you think of this domination the other night?
I mean, I think I said it at the beginning of the season. Birmingham was the best team. I don't think anybody really disagreed with that. I think maybe Tay might have said Battlehawks were better, but nothing surprises me. I will say Martinez definitely surprised me with his performance, but you know, I guess because I'm so used to how things have been going so far this season, I was thinking, Martinez might go out there, get him 175, might get him 200, 1 touchdown, and to have nearly 400 yards of total like on offense and multiple touchdowns, it's just amazing. You already spoke of Deion Kane and how dominant he was. And that's another thing to watch out for. It's like we all knew coming into the season that Birmingham was going to be at the top of everybody's board. But if Martinez has found his his ground, and you got Kane to throw it to, and that's your your wide receiver 1. How do you stop that? How do you stop that? But I can't really say too much about Birmingham because I expected it. But I will say Brandon. I want to say Brandon, when we did our first show, was talking about this game in particular. I don't know if he meant this game or the next time they go against each other, but I think he said don't sleep on the Showboats. And well, I took a very long nap on the Showboats because nothing happened at all in this game that made me feel like the Showboats could compete. Case Cookis, we've already discussed. It was rough, a little rough for him, a little rough for that entire team. And I think once again, nothing makes me happier than the Showboats suffering. So I was very, very excited about this game, just because I don't even know why. This is like Brandon came on the show, and I was like, I like Brandon, so I'm gonna make sure every time the Showboats
we like
lose.
Brandon, so we like to needle him. But also,
Yeah.
there's also been very loud Memphis Showboats people in our comments. So between Brandon talking about how games are going to be easy in the comments that we've got, making excuses for the Showboats, it is
ain't so easy right now, is it? Ain't so easy right now.
Slightly enjoyable.
A little tough.
For coverage on both of these squads, you got Stallions Run with Buck and Scout over there on the Stallions side for United Football Media. And then, of course, like we just said, our guy Brandon, who we love to give him a hard time. I'm interested to see what he has to say on this week's pod. He's going to have a long look in his 1,000-yard stare in his eyes. He's going to, the captain's hat's going to be a little busted, crooked, maybe. He's going to right that ship, though. He's going to get it together. We're not quite at Titanic captain up on the deck just yet. Well, luckily for the Showboats, as we go into the week 4 preview, all that's coming into town is the St. Louis Battlehawks pass rush. So I don't know how that's going to go. Showboats rolling into the Dome, 12:30 Saturday. Personally, I feel like the Showboats are in a fight for their life. They dropped 3 straight. They're on the verge of dropping 3 straight. They're in the Dome. It's going to be crazy. Battlehawks are heating up. Looks rough. I'm going Battlehawks big. Hey, what do you think?
We should all go Battlehawks. If you don't go Battlehawks, I don't even know what to tell you. Yeah, I think it'll be one of them games. Like they should dominate, especially at home. They should definitely dominate. I'm definitely going with the Battlehawks.
Axe.
I honestly think that the Battlehawks going to win by at least 10 points. I think the pass offense will be a little bit too much based off of how the Showboats pass defense had looked this past week against Deion Kane. I'm expecting Butler, Aitman, just to do their thing against them. So I'm rolling with the Battlehawks by at least 10 points. Just my opinion.
It's another loaded offense, another loaded pass rush. Tough stuff for the Boats. True.
I mean, there's never going to be a time you ask me about a Showboats game and I pick the Showboats. So I'm going with the Battlehawks, obviously, but I mean, if you look at the date on Saturday, Showboats getting smoked, and yeah, it fits perfect.
Yeah,
it fits perfect. So yeah.
Our with 2 Saturday games, 2 more Saturday games, 2 Saturday evening games. Very interesting. What if there's a story there? Defenders. Here we go, Birmingham. Prove me wrong. Show me. I want to see some fans out there. Defenders rolling into Birmingham. I guess we're about to see, right? Are the Defenders finally going to play up to what we thought they were? Because y'all are not going to be able to go in here and sloppy back your way into a win this week. Definitely not. Maybe this is the iron sharpens iron wake-up call that they need. I don't know. I'll be very interested to see how Alex and Webb feel about it. What's going to happen here? I'm definitely going Birmingham Stallions over the Defenders this week. Tay?
I'm going Stallions too, and Adrian Martinez's performance, it just kind of solidified that for me. I think this Stallions team is this is the team to beat. So yeah, I'm definitely going with Stallions this week, and they're at home. So yeah, hopefully more people will go this time.
I think this will answer a lot of questions. Any questions that are left. If Adrian Martinez goes out there and breaks it down on this defense, that's very, very talented. Got a lot of high draft pick players from the NFL on it. I think we're off and running with Adrian Martinez.
Yeah.
Officially, no questions left. Yeah, Axe, thoughts on the game?
Well, I'm concerned with the DC defenders' pass defense. They've given up a 100-yard receiver every single week. Because even against the Renegades, they gave up 109 yards to a receiver. So that concerns me with Deion Kane coming through. I don't think they'll have any answers for him. Marlon Williams is a very good receiver for them, too. Like, he's probably wide receiver 2 so far. I just believe that the Stallions are going to win comfortably. They can't, the defenders, if they want any chance in this game, they can't get off to that slow first half start. It's not going to work against the Stallions. The Stallions, they put their foot on the gas. So they can't start off slow in the first half. Tiamu's going to have to be accurate throughout the whole game. That's what it boils down to when it comes to the defenders, and they have to defend the pass better because they've been giving up a lot of passing yards these first few weeks. And if Martinez continues to ride that momentum, it'll be a long night for the defenders. So this is a show and prove game for the defenders.
True thoughts. Pick.
Gotta go with the Stallions. The defenders haven't shown enough to instill that much belief in them. I mean, they just escaped Arlington, going into Birmingham. I don't have faith. I mean, and we saw how Tiamu looked, just not a good showing. So I'm gonna go Birmingham. Birmingham just looks dominant. I can't see. I mean, if DC keeps it close, there's always a chance, but don't. Maybe they'll pull out some of that resilience they had against Arlington, but Birmingham isn't Arlington. So
the performance, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. The performances of the last 2 weeks are not going to be enough against the Stallions.
Cut it.
Not even close. The next game is a bit of a breaking point, a break point situation here. Panthers and Brahmas, very, very, very interesting because I think these are the two teams fighting for possibly, other than the Battlehawks, the two teams that we think might have a shot at bringing down or wounding the Stallions. We think that both the Brahmas and the Panthers could be up in that upper tier, top tier, as they continue to gel throughout the season. I'm going Panthers. I really, really like what I've seen. The improvement of their offense. The defense is still flying around. Breland speaks. Kai Nakua had another impact game this week. Interception, flying around making tackles. I like what the Panthers are doing. I like the way that they're headed. I don't feel great because the Brahmas, again, they almost pulled it off today. They showed how good they are and that resilience. It's never over with those Brahmas. I'm going to have to go with the Panthers, though. Pod favorite, I think. Tay, thoughts on the game? Brahmas Panthers.
It'll be over this week. I'm going with the Panthers. Yeah, I just think the Panthers are a better team. I don't know. I'm really just a big fan of EJ Perry. I really specifically like last week, and the offensive line got it together, and then again they have the best kicker in football on their team as well. Hopefully Marcus Sims can have another big game. Like, I just think it'll be a close one. I do think it'll be a close one, but I got Michigan. I got Michigan pulling it off.
Last week on this pod, we said for the Brahmas, you're not going to be able to get off to another slow start against the Battlehawks and make it all the way back. And it ended up being right. Same thing this week. You cannot get off to a slow start against these Panthers with that defense and with the offense starting to get it together. They're going to pile dirt on you, and you're not going to be able to dig your way out. Axe, thoughts on the game?
I'm going to roll with the Brahmas.
Okay.
I really like the Latimer and Kirkland combination. And I think Anthony McFarland can get off in this game a little bit.
He was looking good today.
If he can get some a decent amount of carries to balance it out, I just think their offense might be a little bit better than Michigan. Like, I feel like Michigan is like head and shoulders better than Houston, and Houston isn't really that great of a team. So I don't know if they can replicate the performance that they had this week against the Brahmas, in my opinion. I just feel like they can't repeat that performance against the Brahmas. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it, though.
You gotta stop hating on them, man. Come on.
They've been very impressive. Like you said, it's going to be a good game. It is. but I just like what I see from San Antonio, so I'm gonna roll with them.
True. Can't wait. He's like,
I just think it's funny. I'm absolutely going with the Panthers, but I do think this game will be close. I believe this is going to be the game of the week. So personally, I mean, you could argue DC and Birmingham, but to me, this is the closest match, the two closest match teams right now. I mean, well, I guess we'll get to the really closest match teams right now, the next game, but um, I think I gotta go with the Panthers. I just think if it came down to a field goal, who am I gonna take? Take the Panthers. So that's how I look at it. If it comes down
taking
to a field goal,
Bates.
I gotta go with the Panthers. Jake Bates has proven what he can do, and I think it will possibly come down to a field goal. That's how closely matched I think these two teams are. But I just like what I saw a little bit, and once again, I could be believing the hype of what I just saw, but I'm gonna go with Panthers.
Possibly the best kicker in football. We kind of play a game on our NFL pod over on our home station, DAR Sports Media. We call it How Many Games? How many more games does Jake Bates do this before we say this is the best kicker in football? How many more, Tay?
0. I'm already sold. I've been saying it. I'm already sold.
Oh, okay. All right. Axe, what do you think?
I mean, overall football, I gotta see how it is when it get cold outside and when it's windy.
Okay.
Things of that nature. But he's legitimate.
He still hasn't done any outdoors, so we got to see that. I'd say, yeah.
He's legitimate though. Like it's 100% real. Great kicker, big money Bates. I'm a believer. Like he's gonna be doing this in the NFL, I believe. But I can't give you status over Justin Tucker until you do it on that level.
Big money Bates. I hope that's what he ends up being. 49ers, please offer him $5 million a year. Drew alluded to it. Somebody has got to win between
left cheek,
Arlington,
right cheek.
Between Arlington and between Arlington. I wonder if we're gonna get in trouble for that. Between Arlington and Houston, the battle of inequity down there in Texas. Arlington, Houston, somebody has to win. I gotta go Arlington. They've been so close. They've given such a good battle against all the top teams in the league. And Houston, they just can't get right. I gotta go Arlington here. What do you think, Tay?
Although, yeah, you do have good logic when saying, you think the Renegades will pull out this week, but I'm going with the Roughnecks at home. I am. I'm going with the Roughnecks. I know I'm gonna be the only one to pick the hope I am, but
hey, well, in that first game, Reed Sinnett looked real good.
That's what I'm saying.
The Arlington secondary, we have said, is susceptible. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see him doing some work.
Home field advantage. I think they pull it off this week and get that first win.
Okay, Axe, thoughts?
I'm definitely rolling with the Renegades get their first win. The Roughnecks look so unprepared and undisciplined week in and week out. And we haven't seen improvement. We thought we'd see some after week 1 losing to Memphis, but we see Memphis only has 1 win, and they haven't really looked impressive. So I'm rolling with the Renegades winning comfortably by at least 10 to 14 points.
Wow.
I think Luis Perez has a big game. I just haven't been impressed with the Roughnecks this season. Just my opinion.
Tay's so excited now for next week. He will be taking notes. The archive will remember.
Yep.
True. Who you got?
Flip a coin, kind of type of game. My mind says the Renegades, but my heart says the Roughnecks are gonna show out because a former guest on this show will be there, and
there we go. Yep.
So I'm gonna ride with the. Sorry, Tay. I know you want to be alone in this, and trust me, it does me no joy to be on the same side as you. But I'll begrudgingly go with my heart and say Roughnecks just because they're at home, and I think And plus Arlington can't close games. So, we've seen that they're not great at closing games. Not that Houston's good at making these games close either, but once again, flip a coin. I'm going to go with the Roughnecks.
How could, even if the crowd's a little bit smaller, we're going to have our guy Ace in the house covering the Roughnecks, as well as friend of the show and all of us, Miss Kennedy Smith, leading the charge as the game host for the Houston Roughnecks. How could they not have one of the best home field advantages with that energy and enthusiasm being pumped through the stadium? We hope that you continue to follow United Football Media with our energy and enthusiasm. Like I said, I've named off, we got pods for all of the teams in the United Football League, as well as we got our gambling show with the captain leading that thing. We got Polar Opposites, the debate style show, all the issues and events going on in the league, as well as individual coverage of every team. There is nobody doing it like the United Football Media. And we thank you for kicking off your week with us and our coverage. We will be back next Monday, back in better than ever. We'll see how things work out. This has been Tell Me About It.